Hey guys, so we've just back from doing our 10-day Vipassana course. That's like a silent retreat where you practice Vipassana meditation, and we thought we'd share how it was for us so you guys can understand what it is, why we went and did such a thing, and what we've got out of it. So, shall I start? So you start by having the introduction, and the men and the women straight away get secluded. So I was without you on after 10 days. Sometimes. But it was for a reason, the secluding you, because it's all about being able to just concentrate on yourself. So not only that, we're pretty much secluded from everyone else because it was silent.
Yeah, it's like being in solitude, basically.
Yeah, like you can't, if you catch someone's eye, you gotta look away, and you can't speak at all, you can't even gesture, you can't write anything to them. One guy kept trying to ask me stuff and I was just like, noble silence. Just had to turn my back on him in the end. But how did you find the silence then?
I actually didn't mind the silence. It was actually really quite nice. Really peaceful to not have any noise around me, not have to talk to people, you know, making that effort, not having them talk to me. There wasn't that pressure. And it just gave me a chance to really just be with myself more because there was less distractions. So actually I did not have an issue with the silence, so I'm a quiet person anyway, so
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm a chatter, you know, I'm the one who started, I'm the talker one, aren't I? You're the observer.
I'm an introvert.
Yeah, that's your domain, like you went straight in pro mode, whereas for me, I thought I was going to struggle.
I thought you would as well.
I like a chat, but when I got there, I just naturally people were allowed to talk at first before the silence, weren't they? And I was like, I just wasn't talking to anyone. Like, you're alright. I was like, and I think I just wanted to get, I was like, I don't want to know everyone's names, because we're not going to be chatting, and the more I know you, it'd be like, imagine being there with 20, 30, 50 friends. It'd be well harder, wouldn't it?
Well, I did notice, like, even the conversations I had before the Noble Silence started, that those conversations kept like repeating in my head things they'd said about
exactly
because people who had done the course before, they would tell me bits about it and it kept coming into my head, so I really didn't want any expectations of it.
But I didn't like, obviously I'm the chat, but I love the silence. I think maybe I chat a bit too much for maybe an out of balance bit, so when I could just be like, I felt I didn't have to talk to you, I didn't have to ask you how your day was, and the only thing was when someone opened the door and I couldn't even say thank you or something, I felt a little bit like...
Yeah, I accidentally said that like a few times.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, there was a couple of times where like the tea I had was like so nice. I think because I just was so aware and present, I was like, nice. Sorry. Well, apart from that, I love the silence. So we'll move on to how it actually starts. So you do the introduction, then they're like, right, noble silence. And then they do like a little introduction only, where you have to practice the first bit, which is it's anapana, that's where you're not controlling your breath, you're just naturally watching the breath in and out, in and out, in and out. Why are you doing that? Is to build your concentration skill. So the whole point of this, so it's sila, which is the moral conduct. So do you remember what sila was?
Moral conduct.
Yeah, but what were the five things that helped develop that foundation?
There was confidence.
No, they're the friends. Seal is like the moral conduct, the rules, like the things you can't break.
Oh, okay, so like no killing.
Which I found difficult. I found it difficult. I mean, I'm quite the murderer, but you know, I thought I won't kill anyone then. For
just
now,
for the 10 days.
For 10 days, I won't kill a soul.
After
that, been on a spree since then.
No sexual misconduct.
No stealing.
No stealing.
Although my towel went missing. Turned out it was a misunderstanding and they were trying to help me. I thought someone was out to get me at that point. No. And my toothpaste. Same day, my toothpaste and my towel went missing. I was like,
breaking the rules.
It's like, is someone having me off? And then I started, because you can't ask anyone. I'm like, have you taken my towel? So I'm like, who wears it? Why are you taking my towel? What have I done to you? Leave my toothpaste alone. Well, I found it anyway, it's all good in the end. What was the one?
Not telling lies.
Yeah, no telling lies. Because the reason you don't talk is not just because you might say a lie, but also you're not allowed to look at them because your body and that can tell lies and and then the other one was...
What do you mean your body can tell lies?
You know, like your body, like you might be a certain way and acting fake and that, you know, to try and make people look at you, and you're not acting your true self. It wasn't just words, it was like be acting like you're not your true self as well. So that can take a lot of your attention doing that, can't it? And then what was the other one we had? No killing, no raping, no stealing. Oh, and no intoxicants, no drugs or alcohol. So you couldn't get pissed, couldn't do any drugs.
You had to bin your bottle of Bacardi.
I did, yeah. I don't usually drink, but I thought, go on. And then so that's, and the reason the Sheila, which by the way I thought they were saying Sheila, so did you, didn't you? What's my mum's name? Sheila. So he kept going, Sheila. I was like, I've already got that one. That one's sorted. And then that was to build a foundation so you could develop samadhi. So what's samadhi?
That is...
Why are we breathing at? Why are we focusing?
Concentration.
There you go.
Of the mind.
Because what we were doing, we were breathing on our, focusing on our breathing, because that was sharpening our concentration. So all you could do was focus on the nostril, inside the nostril, and your lip there. So that little triangle, because it's such a small space that you're really sharpening and pinpointing your mind, so it's not all over the place. And then, why is that? That's for the last one. Do you remember what Panya was?
Developing knowledge and wisdom.
It was wisdom of insight, so that you could purify the mind. Because you're doing the Sila, so that you have got that foundation to practice concentration. Why are you practicing concentration? That's so you can penetrate deeply into your psyche and what's within by focusing on the sensations, wasn't it? So after, we were 3 days, so just so you guys know, we did that, went to bed, and then you wake up 4 a.m. and then from 4:30 to 6:30, 2 hours of just that. Just focusing on the breath. You don't even control the breath, so there's literally just watching. How did you find doing that?
It was tedious to, you know, be repeating the same thing over and over again. Very tedious. However, I could see how it was helping my mind to concentrate better.
Did you notice you started being able to, outside of the meditation?
I was becoming more aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, and also not trying to control it as well. So like my mind can be a little bit, you know, trying to control like how I'm breathing, if you know, trying to breathe deeper. But it was good to just sort of like observe and just see it as it is. Yeah. Just build that practice.
It was actually, I found it started becoming quite relaxing. Like, because I teach meditation. If you don't follow meditation with Michael, that's what I do. And then I'm all about the breath, saying it's your best friend and that. But I didn't realise how because if you do it because we do it for 9 hours and 45 minutes, and that's if you're not practicing it when you're out of it, isn't it? So the breath by that point, it's just like just in, out.
Just helps you to become more present.
No responsibilities, no tasks, nothing to do. All the analysis. Oh, I need to solve this and that. Although, being me, I did try and solve about 1 million problems, because you do get to speak to a teacher, don't you? So that's when you can speak to the course managers if someone stole your towel, or if you've got a question to ask the teacher, you can ask at 9, or you can book an interview between 12 and 1. And I found that really helpful. At first, I was like proper committed to no, I shouldn't be speaking at all. And then I was making it about the noble silence. But you know, how often am I going to get this sick like Vipassana teacher that's an expert? And if I hadn't spoke to him, I'd have been doing so much wrong, like continuously.
Well, they said, didn't they, like if you've got any confusion, then just clarify with the teacher straight away, because it's important that you're getting the technique right.
Yeah, that's more important than any sort of silence. The silence is, you know, you're silent for most of the day anyway. So yeah, you do 4:30 to 6:30 is just meditating, and then you get to have your breakfast. I was pleasantly surprised. It's all vegetarian. But, you know, I was thinking, because it's donation based, I thought it's going to be a bit naff. It's going to just be like porridge with just like, I don't know, some slop, and that's every day. But there was loads of options like toast and cereals and fruits and this and that. Like, you even had like honey and cinnamon and lemon juice and that you could play about with.
And all organic as well. You
Yeah.
can tell it's good quality.
So your body's in the
Just
prime
seems
state.
like quite a pure place to be.
Yeah.
Like, they're really bothered about like your health.
Well, you're a nutritionist as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if you don't follow Isabella Nutrition, follow her. But she's big about, and obviously she got me onto it, because not having poison on your food is usually preferable. But anyway, that was great. And then you'd have your breakfast, and then you could have a little rest, couldn't you? So I collapsed on a bed, because just so you know, I teach meditation, but I don't teach yoga. So my knees and my back, the pain, I can't. It's ineffable. It was the most torture, the most pain I've ever been through in my life. My knees were screaming. You said in it, you saw. Yeah, I started building like a little throne of cushions to try and make it comfier. And by the end, I'm like sat higher than the teacher, which I did
Every
get.
time I
got
looked
shouted
over
at.
you were just like getting higher, like towering above everyone. I'm like,
I was just trying to get it so that my knees were lower than my pelvis, because I've learned that that's better for your posture. And then so obviously I'm doing the
probably need 6 cushions.
No, maybe 5. But the Sukhasana, which is when you sat just cross-legged, then you've got the Vajrasana where you're on your knees with your cushion under your bum, and then you've got like trying to sit on a chair, which I was trying to create a chair because they won't let me have one. Said I'm not infirmed. And then so you do that, and you got to like walk around the little forest bit, didn't you?
That was nice.
That was really nice. They had like a little wooded area, a big grass field in the middle, and yours was pretty much the same, wasn't it? And it had like loads of bunny rabbits. How cute were the bunny rabbits?
The bunny rabbits. There was like big ones, then little baby ones, and they were just hopping around. And because you didn't really have anything else to do, you'd just be like observing like nature, and it's actually really interesting.
Yeah,
what's going on around.
I'd be looking at like a flower and be like, oh, that's nice. And because I had nothing else to do, and I was really getting my concentration skill, because we're on like day 2, day 3 of just focusing on breath for like, it's like 10 hours a day. Like 30 hours of focusing breath. I'm getting pretty focused, and I'd see a flower and be like, yo, check that geometric pattern in it, and then there'd be like a bug on it. Like I told you about butters, didn't I? You remember butters? So basically, I was having my cup of tea after one breakfast, yeah, and I decided I wasn't going to miss a flower in this flower bush. I was going to look at everyone, really just observe, not study or anything, just observe, look at it, look at how beautiful and unique each one was. And I was like, oh, is that rosemary? I'll walk over, see, smell it. Ah, there's a butterfly there. And somebody just went, put your finger out, lad. So I was not touching it, just near it, and it just went, pop. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, I got this butterfly on my finger for about 5 minutes, and then I was like, oh, I need to put this cup of tea in the hall. So I walked over to the hall, still like, all right, fair enough. I'm about to go on a walk, and we've been doing this game, the lads, no one knew it was going to happen, it was spontaneous, it happened where we were stacking logs. We had a log, and then we were stacking rocks on it. So, and then people started, it was crazy. People were making like 5 different blocks. Oh, I've still got the butterfly right now. I haven't got Butters, has not one. So then I went, I'll show Butters that in the woods. Come on, Butters. We're talking like 25, 30 minutes. I've got this butterfly on my finger. Until finally a fly came and ruined it, and then he was gone forever. But that's how present.
We shared a precious moment.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Like, I knew every pattern on his finger or her, But anyway, yeah, so you do that, then you go for your, and then was it another 3 hours? Because they make you do, not make you,
it was
but
4 hours.
Well, no, not the lunch one, breakfast to lunch. That was an hour of a group sitting. You'd have to do a group sitting, wouldn't you? And then you'd have 2 hours where you could stay in the hall. So you'd done the group sitting in the hall. You could stay in the hall.
No, you do an hour and a half, then an hour, then an hour and a half.
No, you're thinking of after lunch. Between breakfast is 8 o'clock, and then lunch was 11.
Yeah, then you do an hour, and then
you do an hour of the group sitting, then you do 2 hours.
So much meditation.
We've already done 2 hours. We do an hour of group sitting. It gets confusing, and then you like have 2 hours where you can either stay in the hall or you can go back to your bedroom, can't you? And like you have to meditate. You don't have to. This is all for your own good, but you meditate for 2 hours. Can't go outside because that's too distracting. Too many lights, too many sounds, too many smells.
Because even like the air, like coming to your nostrils can you can get confused. Yeah, because you're losing awareness of your own breath. So
yeah, unless you're like Buddha level, which we will be soon, but maybe a few more days. But yeah, so you've got to do that. And they would also have it where the teacher sometimes would call you over when you was group 2, and they'd be like, "So how are you finding it?" And you're like, I'm dying, he's like, every time I was like, the whole time, a lot of pain at the it gets better. But I'm like, how do I do? Should I move my knees? Should I do that? Should I sit like this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I stretch? You got any stretches for me, bro? And he's like, just accept, just observe. Like, Mohan, Ramachandran, help me out, brother. Like, I'm dying. Oh, I mean dying. I've never felt pain like it. But it gets to the point, because he's like, so you're focusing on that, and eventually you start to feel the atomic structure of your body. So not only do you feel a solid nose, because your nose is just atoms, and they're going in waves, and they're flickering, and your nose starts going wavy. Mine did, anyway. It was like, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what the?
Yeah, mine didn't.
That was like a proper, like, whoa. I was like, no way, my nose is, and then I'd feel it, and it'd be solid, and then I'd take away, like, blah, 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 blah. And then you've got to take it to just your lower lip, hadn't you? And my lower lip was like, it felt like it was going like a worm, like it was like, ooh, and it was like, whoa, and then I'd look at my nose, and then that bit would be like dead dense, which hasn't gone yet. That brings me to the next bit. So you start doing the Vipassana on day 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've not just started Vipassana yet, this is Anapana. So that's to sharpen your mind. So you've got the Samadhi, and then it's about the purification, which is the Panya. How do you purify Pete?
Pardon?
How do you purify it? Like, do you remember what the Vipassana, what we're doing in that?
Oh, you mean the Vipassana?
Yeah,
like the technique?
yeah, what's the technique?
Basically observing all the different sensations in your body, starting from the head.
From the head
toes,
to the tip of the toes.
Start at the head.
That's what the guy
Top of
kept
the
saying.
head. So you would observe all the different sensations. So it could be anything that's manifesting physically, so cold, heat, tingling, vibration, pain, and you're just observing that. So you're not trying to change it, you're not judging it in any way, you're just seeing it as it is, and you're just going, you just
it's just witness,
scanning
just
up and down
fully
the body.
witness it.
So that is the technique of Vipassana.
But the point I was making was I can't stress the pain, and I'm saying to the teacher, mate, this pain is screaming so loud, I can't hear the whispers of these atomic particles flickering, little buzzes here, little bubbles there, like I can't feel that, these are screaming for my attention. And he's like, keep practicing, just keep practicing, keep having faith, don't give, like he said to me, I told you that, like, he was like, don't give the naughty boy the attention, you'll get to him when it's the pain, when you get to that part your body turns. He's like, don't tell the naughty boy to wait. So eventually I managed, and this is why the pain was fantastic in the end. I focused my mind so much, I could feel the atomic structure fizzling or bubbling or whatever it was doing, or really dense as well, which we'll get onto, whilst the worst agony I've ever been into, like literally like torture. And I decided, because at one point I was like, because I'd been trying to sit in the one position, I could not stop moving. And then eventually I was like, day 4, I was like, I'm just gonna sit with it. Like, I'm just gonna sit with the pain, and if my leg snaps, it snaps. If my back breaks, it breaks. After 4 days, it's like, right, I'm sick of this. I felt like the pain was bullying me. So I was like, for me, for mother, for Izzy, for the world, I will learn how to do this. And it was like, I fought the pain for the whole hour, got through it, and I was like, yeah. I went for a run, which you weren't allowed to do. I ran around the woods, because like, trying to show literally, like, my knees were my enemy. I was like, I'm going to show you that I can do it without you, and I'll run. And then it was like, because you get 5 minutes, don't you, break, and then start again. And I was like, right. And part of me was like, do the Vajrasana, go on your knees. I was like, no, I'm going to do Sekasana again. I'm going to sit with my legs. And then by the end I got to about 2 minutes before the dong, we started chanting, and then it was like, I just collapsed. Because the pain had become, because I'd used my willpower, and I'd fought the sensations, which you can do for a certain amount of time, but it's like yang energy in it, and the yin holds it, and that's your observation. It's nice and
that's
soft.
the equanimity and the calm, which is the balance of the mind.
And that's what he kept saying. He was like, patiently, diligently, equanimously.
Yeah, go with the calm and equanimous mind.
Quiet mind. He was dead sick. So the teacher, by the way, the main teacher, is actually dead now, right? How did he speak to us, babe?
Through recordings and video recordings.
Video recordings, and then like the sound on it, so it was loads of chanting. The chanting was really nice. It was nothing crazy. It was nothing like ritualistic. It was just wishing you love and happiness. And after doing like 55 minutes of when you heard his voice start chanting, it was like,
because you were like getting to the end as well.
And he was proper sweet, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like the discourse is so. We'll get to that. So that's we do that, don't we? And then I had a habit for the first 3 or 4 days of, because I'm getting to like the 4th or 5th hour before lunch. It's like, go lie down. You're allowed to go to your room and just lie down and meditate. And if you fall asleep, then you fall asleep. It's fine. And like you said, what's one of the main enemies? Drowsiness. Have we got to them yet? The enemies, and then so there was, what were the 5 enemies?
So drowsiness.
Is this, by the way, is this going to burn my mouth, or?
I think you'll be fine.
I've got a proper wimpy mouth, so she tells me if I'm ready for the cup of tea. Go on.
Drowsiness, restlessness, craving, aversion, and what was the last one?
So what have you got? You've got drowsy, you've got craving and aversion, you've got agitation.
I didn't say agitation.
No, what was the other one again?
I don't know. I don't know what we said.
Craving.
So much stuff to remember.
Craving, aversion, drowsiness, restlessness, and doubt. Yeah, doubt. That was it. I can't do this. This teaching's not working. This is stupid. But then, so they were the enemies, and then what were the 5 friends? Like your best friends.
Confidence.
Like that was like devotion, confidence, faith in it, wasn't it? Awareness. Yeah. So that's the watching of it all.
Alertness? No.
Concentration.
Concentration.
Yeah, like the concentration was one of the big ones. Smart.
Can't remember the other one.
So there was effort.
Yeah.
Trust me, effort's a big one. You have to be willing to keep going, keep coming back. He's like, work seriously over these 10 days, work very seriously. And it's like, do you know what? I've come here for 10 days silent, let's do it.
Yeah, because it's hard work.
Oh, it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, you've got to be committed to the practice. You're there to work.
And what was the last one? So we've got effort, we've got concentrate, wisdom of insight, of hanya. Purification of the mind comes from the wisdom. So they're your 5 best friends, they're your 5 enemies. So lunchtime, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, could not complain.
Again, vegetarian, every time it was different with the same, like my salad, they had loads of different amenities that you could condiments or amenities. Think of condiments, wasn't it?
Yeah, like olive oil and
lemon juice and all that stuff.
Everything was dead healthy.
Yeah, but it was
really
nice.
Light as well.
Jacket potato, cheese. There was and the odd day you'd get a treat. There wasn't always a snack, but the odd day would be like flapjack or a little
surprise.
Yeah, I was like, and then I'd film myself too much, and then drowsiness, the big enemy, drowsiness would come. So then I asked the teacher, he's like, "Are you eating big meals, Michael?" I was like, little bit.
I did the same. It's like, I need to listen to the teacher.
Yeah, and then obviously you start learning to have about 85% full, don't you, rather than breaking point. And have your cup of tea, then you get a break, don't you? So again, go walk around the forest, go watch the bunnies, go lie in the sun, go look at flowers, whatever. Even have a nap. Sometimes there was a time where I'd just go and have a nap because I'm that beat. Then you start feeling the sensations, like we said, all over the body. So you start by one, don't you? And then you've got to start, then finally when you can, so imagine how cool it is that you can feel all the atomic structure, but then some bits are dense. So go on, what were the dense bits like?
Yeah, for me, there was a lot of dense sensations in my head.
Gross, they called it.
They called it gross sensations, and it felt like a block.
I think it is a blockage,
just like a block on your head.
Did you only get it on the head?
In my stomach as well.
Because I spoke to a few people and they were like nose or hair or I won't tell you about the other one, it was private for the person. But
there was blind spots as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, but for me, the dense bits were I was Mr. Dense. I had dense all there. So I had a shower cap of density, then dense there, and my neck was dense. About 14 places on my back were dense. I had density there in my stomach, and it was weird, right? So he said if you've got a dense bit, or like she said, a blind spot, which basically a blind spot's where you can't feel any sensation at all, can you? But the dense bit, I focused on the stomach bit, and it wasn't actually that. It was dense-ish. It was like quicksand. It was like boo, 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 when I was checking. And I was like, and I learned to start just really intensely looking. Like my concentration was on it by that point, and it was like it went.
Yeah.
That was sound effects as well, and then that was like going on for an hour. Like I finally went to bed, and it was still going on. Just as I was about to fall asleep, I felt like an eruption, and then it was like this energetic, orgasmic ecstasy through my body for 5 minutes. I was like, "Wow, what's going on?" I'm seeing his face in halo and that. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." And then finally it settled down after about 10 minutes, and I was like, and then I was up for like the next 5 or 6 hours. I got about 1 hour sleep because I just couldn't go back to sleep. I kept focusing on all the bits. But yeah, that, like if I focused on the dense bit for long enough, it would start constricting and constricting. Imagine like tightening a rope, and the knots just getting tighter and tighter until eventually it so my face was like, or the worst one, like if you'd see me, you'd be laughing, right? So I focused on the one in my neck, and my neck literally went like that. I was like, duh, in the middle of the hall. Then the ones in my back joined in, so I was like, duh.
Yeah.
For like 5 minutes, and I got to the point where I could just observe it. So my knees are on fire, back's pulling me, neck's pulling me, head feels like someone's crushing it, and I wasn't bothered. That equanimity was so helpful, because I would just watch myself dying, basically. And it was like, if my neck snaps, it snaps, whatever. I'm not bothered, like, I'm just watching this. This is a show right now. But eventually it got so, it went ding, and then it was like, ugh, and I didn't feel any better. But then the day after, when I woke up, it was like, I just feel a bit lighter. I just feel a bit lighter, a bit nicer, because shall I explain what the density is?
Yeah.
So the density basically, so like she said, the enemy is the craving, the aversion, those two, and or ignorance as well. So if your aversion to something stops the flow of matter and energy flowing as it should do, which is Dharma, isn't it? The law of nature. Things constantly change. So anicca, which means basically constant change. And your atoms, think one atom flickers 1 trillion times in a second or something. So that's constant change, and we're witnessing that. Now, usually we're not witnessing that, and I go, I don't like. So Izzy's pissed off at me. I don't like that. I'm averse to her. I'm resisting resisting the flow of how I feel about what she's doing is the important bit, because that stops the flow. The matter in that and the atoms becomes dense, because it's stopping, so it's dense. Then you don't feel that either, because you're not trained to, are we? So we suppress that down into our psyche. Now, that's what we're drawing out. Basically, our concentration is cutting the wound, and that density is like pus coming out of the wound. And then after that, it's open. And that's when, so once I've done something like that, I know there's going to be some anxiety, there's going to be some trauma, there's going to be some deep-rooted thing, because I've now removed the pus, the root's now getting taken out. And it's
you've opened the wound, and it's the pus coming out.
And it comes naturally, doesn't it? It just comes naturally out. So I'll be walking around the woods like, look at those beautiful birds. And then, panic attack. But because I'm used to sitting with the most intense pain, which is why the pain was helpful, I'm like, only a panic attack, only anxiety, only depression, only like doubt. All right, and you feel the point is to feel the sensation, not analyze it. Not even worry about the emotional, you just focus on the sensation. You fully feel the sensation, observe it equanimously, and then eventually it just goes.
It dissipates.
It just dissipates, it just dissolves. It's like, I've been felt now, thanks for that. And I've been teaching that sort of stuff, but this was on the next level. So we're doing that, aren't we? We're finally getting it where we can do the flow on mass. There's like day 7 in it or something, where you do like this, where basically you just, it's like pressing a switch, and you're just scanning it. It goes, your body just starts scanning all the time. I wasn't even trying. It was just going down as if like
I had that as well.
As if it was just like a scanner, and it was like, and I could feel the bits which were dense, the bits which were gloopy, the bits which were fizzy, the bits which were blind as well. Not the bits. The bitch that was blind. I hate blind bitches. But then eventually, you come back up again, it'd go down, it'd go up, and then you have then identified either a dense bit or a blind spot, haven't you? Because you've identified the bits that weren't fizzing or doing the nice little feelings. So then you basically know to go one by one to the bits that need looking at, sort of like a doctor, and then you'd even be like that's dense or painful. Go down a bit. All right, that's fine. Down, and then you identify the exact area where it is, and then watch it for 5 minutes, and then move on. Have you gone less? Oh, you changed a little bit. I need you. It's changed a little bit, and then constantly working patiently and diligently, it just starts to release it all, release it all, release it all. What else have I missed? Oh yeah, so we've not actually told them the rest of the day. So you've done that, and then that was the bit you were talking about. So you've had your lunch, haven't you? You had your rest, and from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock is your 4-hour slot of meditating.
Yeah.
So that's what, 1 hour. I think it's 1.5 hours, wasn't it?
Just in the hall, meditate in the hall or in your room.
Or in your room. Then you had to have a group sitting for an hour. And it's like a 5-minute rest in between these. You do get at least 5 minutes.
Well, you have to be strict in the group meditation. You're not meant to move.
No, that was when it was like, was it Anita Dana, something like that. And that started on like day 5 or 6, where you had to stop. You couldn't move. You couldn't unclasp your hands. So whatever hand posture you had to just leave it as it was. You couldn't move your legs, could you? And you just had to sit with it. So by that point,
keep your eyes closed.
Keep your eyes closed, silent, obviously. And by that point, like, you start realising, oh, I can sit this full hour. Because none of it's making you, but if you want to do it right, they're saying, look, do this. And then eventually, like, because you had 3 of them, didn't you? There was one at, 8 till 9?
8 till 9.
And then one at 2:30 to 3:30. And then one at 6 till 7. I think the one was 6 till 7 after the tea break. So yeah, you do that hour, and then there's another hour and a half which you can stay in the group hall, or you can go in your room and do it. And then you finally, oh, you ready? Well, my face, you should have seen it the first day. Right, so tea time to me is the best meal of the day. Like, yeah, breakfast is sweet, lunch is fresh, tea time's the big meal. We're going in, I'm a man clad, we like our tea. And then walk in on the first day, fruit and tea.
It literally was a tea.
It was a
break,
literal
like
tea break.
A
cup of tea and 2 bits of fruit, and that was it. And I was like, eventually I learned I like banana. I've always had this thing I don't like bananas, but after a few days it's like, well, I've had enough apples and oranges, and I don't like the pear. I feel like pear's bland. So I was like, I'm just gonna have the banana. I was like, alright, this banana, you know. By the end, like, the banana one, the one I was grabbing, I've gone and bought some from Unicorn, our organic health store now, I love it. But yeah, you actually didn't need it, I found.
I didn't have any fruit, so I just fasted from,
yeah, because you're hardcore, aren't you?
11ish in the morning till 6:30 the next day. So I did like 19-hour fast, and it didn't. When you meditate and you're not really moving around much, you don't really need that much food.
And it's good not to be heavy.
And it helps you to meditate better, not having a heavy stomach.
I've meditated today, because we'll tell you what you do at the end, but I've meditated today right after eating, after the gym, and I was like, whoa, I was dead drowsy. The drowsiness came in, so I get why they do it. It makes sense. And they always had a big break from when you ate to the next time you did something, didn't they? So then 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock, because we're not meditated enough, you do another one, and if it's by this point like Anitana or something like that, you cannot move. So I'm like, right, fine, I won't move, whatever. Can't even leave the hall, can you? You need the toilet, you best go on your tea break. And then you finally get the discourse, don't you? Oh, it was like movie night. So the main teacher who died, Goenka, he would do an hour 10, hour 15 minutes of just like explaining it and discussing it, but he was so nice. How nice was he?
Oh, he was really lovely.
I loved him. He was like this lovely little grandpa, and he was like, so you need to do this. And, I mean, he's not Italian, I'm crap at accents, but he basically would give a Dharma talk, so a talk on the law of nature, and it was always like loads of reference to Buddha. He loved his stories as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he was quite funny as well.
Yeah, he was. I thought he was pretty joke.
Yeah,
and then, so you got that was like the little movie night bit, which that was like, apart from getting to see your face, that was my favourite part.
We weren't meant to look at each other.
No, but I look at a bunny rabbit, I look at a butterfly, I can still look at the people, I just can't interact or look them in the eye. I can still see a person though there, and if I saw your face, it'd just be like this little, oh, that is it, it's beautiful. There was one time when I saw you after that time when I fought myself and tired myself out, and I saw your face, and it was like this jolt of energy, and I was like, yeah. But apart from that, the discourse and movie bit was my favourite bit. Like, in terms of enjoyable, like obviously I loved them, like healing myself, and
there was a lot of insights, like from his stories. You could pick things out of it that would help you in your practice.
And then I always felt invigorated after his talks. I felt like ready, and he was very, very intelligent. So he would know. He's been teaching this for time. He would know where you're at. Wouldn't he? He constantly keeps saying like I know you feel like we're just torturing you, and he'd have little stories of past students that are like, I love it all, but the hour where you can't move, get rid of that, Gwen.
Yeah.
It's like I'd love to. So he got where you were, and there was so many times when I was going to ask the teacher a question and you just answered it.
Yeah.
And then you get your 5-minute break, and then because obviously we've only done 9 hours meditation, it's not enough. You've got another like 30-45-minute meditation to do at the end. Then you can speak to a teacher. Then you get your like brush your teeth and just you go to bed. There was one time I went for a midnight walk, and there was loads of bloody rabbits. It was mint, but I was knackered the next day. So every time I just went straight to bed. And I'm sharing a room. You didn't share a room, did you?
No.
She had her own little flipping cubicle and that, didn't you?
Little room with a curtain. It was in a dormitory.
I was in a room with 3 dudes, and we had to constantly keep pretending we didn't know each other, basically. I'm doing yoga because obviously I'm trying to help with my posture and that, and walking past it was weird, but it was kind of like the guy next to me, he was called Felix, and I felt like he was my best mate. I was like me and you were on this together, and it was funny. Like we had a guy upstairs, and what's he called? Harry? I can't remember, his name's not important, but he had the flattest feet. He would walk like boom, boom, boom. So we're trying to meditate like boom, boom, and by day 9, because day 9 was like your last working seriously day, and I went fully in. Like I was like day 9, I was like, for the last bit where you do the 4 hours, I didn't move for an hour in one position. Had a 5-minute break, hour and a half in the other position, didn't move. Then went and did the last position that I know, which was another hour, and I was done by that point. And then this guy with me and with Felix are just chilling there, and he's like, boom, boom, boom. We've heard it all week. We burst out laughing like I was in stitches, like absolute stitches. It was funny, but we still not spoke, me and him. And then so finally, you've healed loads of trauma. There's loads of density being released. You know, you put yourself through a lot. You've realised what you're capable as well. I found there were like 9 people who left, weren't there, out of like 200. Which that's impressive numbers. Like every single one of you, by the way, could do it. And there's nobody who couldn't do it. There's just people who would allow their past habits to dictate to them that they can't do it. They need to go. They're not ready. You could do it. Anyone could do it. It's just you gotta reach deep down and just really commit. Devote to the 10 days, and then the last day. So what's the last day like?
The last day was it was tough for me, to be honest. A lot was coming up for me. I've been suffering with this condition for a long time, basically where smells from my digestive system actually come out through my pores and my body, and as you can imagine, it's very upsetting and very embarrassing thing to live with, and that can be triggered by anxiety in my stomach. So meditating around a lot of people and my anxieties coming up in my stomach was really difficult to sit with, because I'm thinking, what are people going to think about me? Am I distracting other people? And that was really quite painful for me to try and sit with. So a lot of anxiety was coming up for me, sort of like on the 9th day and the last day. I know. But
I was proud of you, like the fact that because the last day you finally got to talk, so you had he's like this Goenka has been saying, and the 10th day is the easy day. That's the balm that we put on you now, and all that after the operation you've just done. So I've got into day 10 thinking I'm going to be just a doddle. But then, no, the first 2 hours, I'm still meditating. I did pretty sick actually, because I think I'd gone in relaxed. Like, it's going to be an easy day. So I was dead relaxed, I was on it. And then you had your breakfast, you're still not smiling. Should I be speaking to somebody yet? Like, I still wasn't sure. Should I kind of talk? Like, I'm like, oh well, I kind of got quite a bit like, oh, I'm gonna have to talk now. Like, I've actually gone from being this chatty guy.
Oh, the piece is gonna be
like this chatty guy, and now I'm like, do I have to talk? Bloody hell! And then you had your break, yeah, and then you went back and did another meditation, didn't we?
But we did metta.
Metta. So, shall I say what metta was like? So metta is, so you've done all this, and it's all the Vipassana is looking at yourself. Metta is beautiful, right? So we're doing it now where we do an hour, and we'll tell you about that in a second, but then you finish it with metta. And what metta is, it's selfless love. So you just sit there after you're proper healed up, as long as you're feeling okay. If you're not feeling peaceful or loving, there's no point doing it, because you can't emit love if you aren't on that vibration. But you just sit there and so you breathe in love, as you breathe out, you just feel it going out to all beings, don't you? And then peace, feel it going out to all. So you have to generate love and peace and then happiness and harmony within you. So that's already nice. And then you just feel it, no specific being, just all beings.
Just wishing love, peace, harmony,
just feeling
happiness
that
for
energy,
all beings, no matter if it's an insect or a bird or a human, just emitting that love.
Yeah, just happiness to all beings, love, peace, harmony to all beings, and that's such a nice thing to do. Like, I actually love that. Like the other ones, we're going serious. We got stuff to take care of, but that one's just like, because I love being like, that's why I'm vegetarian. So I don't want to cause harm to anyone. That's why I want to teach meditation. It's helped me. I want to be of service. So to just give that out, even if it's not actually doing anything, which I actually believe it does, because that was the thing when they first did it. I wasn't feeling okay.
Same.
Obviously you told the people how bad, but I was also my version of this is I hate horrible discomfort, and I've been sitting with that like pain and discomfort for 9 days. I'll tell you, actually, I had it where I've been having an issue with like existential crisis, where because my dad died and my mum, not my mum, but my gran and my granddad and my cats and and it's rocked my psyche, and it showed me the anicca, the change, the impermanence of everything. But then it's like everything was coming up, all the memories of my dad, all the memories of my granddad, all my memories of mine, the mineness, all this attachment, all this identity was coming up, and it was so shook because all we'd been focusing on was anicca, change. It was like, no, this is me. And then for an hour in the hall, I was just flooding with tears, and I was allowing it. I was like, why not, man? I feel upset. That's how you're releasing it, aren't you? Through the tears. It was tears. But then after that, I was just like, oh, it was done. And now I'm just like, when it comes up again, I'm like, oh, hi friend, remember, we're okay. Everything's meant to change so that the new can come in. It's like, oh yeah. I just feel so much calmer about it all. But now we've done that, and we've learned the metta, and then we finally get to talk.
Yeah.
And I decided, because you went off crying, didn't you, because of how hard you found that.
Yeah, I was upset.
She didn't even know that the barrier got moved as well, so there was a little section where on the grass you could talk to the females now, and
I didn't know that men and women could mix at that point.
Exactly, yeah. So I didn't really know, but then the second I learned that, I was like, my first words are to you. I've been wanting to talk to all these guys and ask them how was your, because everyone's silent. Like, I'm going through torture, I'm going through bliss, I'm going through existential crisis, I'm going through healing, this and that. Yeah. You wouldn't believe, the experience is mental. You think just sitting there meditating, it's not, is it? Everything happens inside you first, so it's a roller coaster. I'm like, I wonder what these guys have been through. But the second I learned that you could speak to the girls as well, I was like, my girl is the first person who I'm speaking to. So people are coming up to me and they're like, one of the guys, I called him Tut. He was lovely, yeah, but he was the guy who kept everyone disciplined. Very nice, very lovely, but he's like, just Michael, just pull down your arm. Michael, just put your feet up. Michael, you've pulled your t-shirt up when you were taking your hoodie off to not distract the women. Or some of the men. And he was also like, he wasn't like that, by the way, but he was like, he was constantly making sure everyone was in the right position and da-da. So he's doing what, he's actually helping us, but the part of you that's getting triggered is like, I called him Talk, because he was like, tut. I was like, but he came up to me, like, he was dead nice.
Yeah.
He's like, how was it for you? Do you, tell me about it. And I went, nodding at him like he must have thought he hate me or something. I was like, And I took this like pack that he was giving me, and then walking around because she'd gone, she disappeared. I even got shouted at because I went down to like the women's houses and I didn't know you weren't allowed to do that. Trying to find where the hell is she?
I've gone into the forest.
I finally saw you. Yeah, I finally saw you, and then I tapped you on the shoulder, and you were like. So that's when you could.
Nice.
That was when you first could speak, wasn't it? So how was that for you after like pretty much 10 days of not talking?
It was just a relief to hear your voice, especially like when I wasn't expecting it, and just when I was in such a low place, just to have that comfort of you being there was just lovely.
Yeah, and then you were crying, weren't you? Because you were telling me what you just told the people and how you're finding it so hard, and I was just so calm. I was I wasn't, by the way. I was having that was my point. At that point, I was having a panic attack because of the overwhelm of everyone talking. My parts were like, what's going on? I've been used to silence, and then it was like bum 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 bum, bum, and I was like, but then because I've been used to sitting with the worst pain I've ever had and existential crisis and God knows what, I was like, oh, hi, panic attack. Izzy needs us right now. We're just gonna give Izzy a bit of attention. She needs it right now. Come Izzy, come on, me and you, we'll go over to the tree, we'll sit down. I felt like Buddha myself. I was like, come on. Buddha, by the way, isn't a person, it's a state of consciousness, a quality of alignment, isn't it? So that anyone can be Buddha, you could be Buddha. Just do a bit of Vipassana. But yeah, so I'm saying, and we helped calm you down, didn't we, a bit, and we agreed that you weren't going to go and you were going to stay, and we were going to do a few more meditations and then do the final discourse as well. We wanted to see the final discourse. And we'd go in the evening because it finished, and then in the morning there was one meditation and there was a last discourse, wasn't there? But we actually got the app which both were on. So the last meditation and the last discourse, so we just did it at home. We missed breakfast and saying bye, that was it, and I said bye anyway. So we went and did that, and then Izzy went off. I said, just stay, but I'll go if you want to. And you were like, no, we'll come this far, we'll finish it. And then when I went in the food hall, that's when the panic, I forgot to feel the panic. So it was like, and the food hall was like,
so loud, wasn't it?
Because everyone's been quiet, and then it's like, everyone's talking, and my senses are like, do not compute. So my panic went through the roof, but again, it was lovely. I was just like, got my plate, and I was like, oh, let's just close our eyes. Don't feel anything but the sensation of panic. And by the time I got halfway down the food bit, gone. And that's whilst I'm getting my food, it's gone. Panic, tap, done. Within 10 seconds. Because I'd fully felt the sensations. So, yeah. I mean, we just wanted to do this video to give you our experience. Disclosure, your experience is not going to be ours. It is different for each person. I'm sure if we got every one of the guys who did it to go and do their version of this,
it'd be completely different.
Completely different, because you're all unique, we're unique, the way we react, the sensations, the experience, all of the environment, it's all going to be different.
There's no comparison to each other's experiences. We're
doing this not to tell you what to expect, so we give you a heads up. We're doing this to give you maybe an insight into, I might try Vipassana, and it's a donation base. So if you've got no money, people are paying for you to come because it's helped. That's how much it helped. I can say it's helped me. We're continuing our practice, and basically you donate what you can. So I said it, I've only got like a spare 50 quid, but what they also want you to do is be of service. So everyone who works there is volunteering. No one's getting paid to do it. They've been helped so much, they're older students. So I was like, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you 50 quid, but I'll also come for 10 days and be of service. I'll be a cook, I'll be a gardener, I'll be a cleaner, whatever helps some more people, maybe yourself, get 10 days of what I got, then that's a game changer, because now you've heard all the stuff we've been through and how it's helped us. I mean, what would you say is the main stuff you took away?
Observing the sensations or emotions rather than just blindly reacting to them. Just realising that they're not permanent, they arise to pass away. It's the law of nature, nothing's permanent. So just remembering that, being able to just observe them, and also not craving as well, not wanting something to happen or wanting someone to be there, just accepting the moment as it is. That's what I've gained, just more presence really.
I know what you're saying there, wanting someone to be there. I actually had because I do parts work. If you're not sure, check it out. It's called Internal Family Systems, IFS. It's about learning that there's just different parts of yourself. You've got the anger part. What's anger? It's a big brother protecting the sadness or the vulnerability or whatever. So I had a part that was like totally detached from the situation, was seeing how much pain I was in, and it was like, he's gone nuts. He's gone nuts. He's gone psycho. He's trying to kill me. Somebody's hijacked us, and it was like, by the end it was like, do something, and I could feel the sensations, and it was like at one point another part was going, who are you talking to? Like, who are you screaming? It was like, yeah, you're right. He's not listening. Whoever that is. And it was like screaming out to the people. It was like to the teacher, like, help, help, help me. Because I was just making it, well, I wasn't making it, I was just observing it all rather than reacting. Like you said, I'm not reacting anymore. And eventually it was just like, I realised this, help, help. It was like, it was a baby. It was the baby within me that only knew how to ask for some help from outside of myself, to do something about it rather than just feel it, because obviously a baby doesn't know how to figure that shit out. And eventually I was like, oh, you're just a baby, man. You just need me to cuddle you and hold you with my awareness. Not try and fix it, just hold you. Just hold you. Until eventually it was like, and then it'd come up a million other times, different parts of me that were averse to, because I was also restless as hell and drowsy at some point. So I think the main things I took away from it was the equanimous. So not only am I not reacting, not only am I observing, and also, oh my God, I can feel all these crazy sensations. That alone is interesting. And I'm present, very present. My concentration's on point now. But actually, I can remain calm. I can have a storm hit me. I can have someone screaming at me. I can have someone attacking me. I can have pain. I was at the gym today and I was smacking it because it was like pain. I'll just watch it. And it's the fact that the equanimous bit is the calm. Just be calm, gentle, observe, and nature, it's gonna pass. Why get attached? Why resist something that's gonna pass anyway? And that just helps me just be like, yeah, this moment's not even pleasant, and like get rid of the labels, it just is. It is this sensation, isn't it? And nothing that's happening outside of ourselves is the problem. That's not the misery. It's our reaction to it that's creating the way we feel. That is the misery. Because I could react to a situation calmly, and Izzy could act angrily, or vice versa. But it's not the situation then, is it? Because it's the person dictating how they respond. So if you're miserable, it's because you've learned to react in a way that causes you to be miserable. Don't react, just observe. So I think we've covered everything, haven't we? Anything else? Oh, no? Izzy saw a snake in England.
About this big.
I told my friend Ant today, I said, Izzy saw a big black snake. He was like, I bet she did. Like, alright, nice one. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, lovely way to end it. But I think the best thing we should do now is, at the end of every meditation, Goenka, you did check him out, by the way, he would do a little chant, wouldn't he? So in English, I think it means, may all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. And then we reply with something which is like, we agree, well said, yes. So it's Bhavatu, Sabha, Mangalam, that may all beings be happy. And then we all replied, if we wanted that, with the agreement, which was Sadhu, wasn't it? So we'll do it. It was 3 times. Shall I do the first bit? You'll do. So it's, guy, close your eyes and just listen to this. It's dead nice. So it's Bhavatu Sabha Mangalam Bhavatu Sabha Mangalam. happy. And if you've got no experience in meditation, just so you know, the guy next to me didn't, and he got through it. He's healed, he's got his bit from it. So whether you're new or whether you're not, I appreciate the experience so much. I'm going to carry on now. So that's where we're going to do an hour in the morning, we're going to do an hour at night, and then we're also going to do 10 minutes after each one of the Vipassana, where we then do the metta, giving our love. So hopefully you'll feel our love. Apart from that, may all beings be happy.